Good beer. Who's the? Oh, hey, how you doing, folks? This is another moment where I get caught with my nose in my beer, if you will, with my pantalones down. Welcome to another riveting edition of The Ghost and the Goat. Starting me, your host, your lovely host this evening, Buddy Thayer. I've had a few weeks off from this. I'm a little rusty. Join me, Paranormal Investigator, Buddy Thayer, as join me by the hand, not the beer hand, take me by the other hand, as we walk together into a very paranormal field. Tonight is nothing different. Of course, on our way into the paranormal fields, we're going to stop into the sports fields. Some really paranormal shit happening in baseball right now. It's blowing my mind, you know. Not really, just really cool stuff. Really, if you're a fan of the Red Sox like myself, it has been quite the paranormal season. We started off terrible. Then we fired our manager, legend Alex Cora. He was with us for some of our World Series as a player. He came back as a coach. He took us again to the World Series. Done some great things. And then we were like, hey, you've lost like 17 in a row. You suck. Get out. And they kicked him out. And they brought up Chad Tracy. I'm like, oh, God. This guy was the minor league coach for Woo Sox, who I frequent from time to time. Excuse me, let me take a sip of this. And they continued to suck throughout May and June. And then at the end of June, they said, like, I'm showing a little bit of hope. Started winning a few games here and there. I'm like, I don't know if I can trust this. But then the All-Star break happened. And we sent a few folks to the All-Stars because they were quietly getting better. Then we went on like this record-breaking winning streak. I think that's where I left you folks last. We lost a few games, won a whole bunch more games, and now we're kind of like, we got our asses kicked by Toronto last week, and they kind of suck. They've been in the basement, even though they were in the World Series last year. They've been in the basement all yet. And then we got beat up again by the Pittsburgh Pirates. Excuse my phone. I thought it was on silent. Apparently, I thought wrong. And then now we're playing the Arizona Diamondbacks, and we're winning a few more games. So the Red Sox are in third place in the AL East. They're taking advantage of quite the drunkenness of the AL teams. The AL teams are not like, nobody is really outstanding this year. The New York Yankees, of course, the Evil Empire are 2 games ahead of us, or 2.5 games rather, for the first wild card position. The Red Sox solidly have a 6-game cushion for the second wild card position, which is absolutely mind blowing. I never thought we'd be in this. And then for third place, we have a 4-team tie, or 3-team tie between the Texas Rangers, Baltimore Orioles, or suddenly realizing what to do with baseball bats again. The Texas Rangers, the Detroit Tigers, who's been playing some good ball, and the Minnesota Twins, who are just like squeaking out of it. Toronto Blue Jays are like just a half a game out of this. So are the Minnesota Twins. The Cleveland Guardians, 1 game. Seattle Mariners, who suck all year long. They're 59-66, 0.472 percentage, which is not great. They're under 500. They're 2 games back in this wild card. So like I said, the drunkenness of the AL. Now after that, it's Kansas City, the Athletics, and the Angels, and they all suck. They're all like 9.5 and 12 games back, both of them respectively. So there's still a lot of baseball to be played, and God willing, I hope the Red Sox can hold out, because I mean we have a lot of injuries right now, so it will look great. Like if Crochet comes back, and some of those other guys. It was somebody's the shortstop. He's the old guy, the veteran. He's due back tonight. No, not JD Drew. Name just slipping me. I don't know. The Red Sox are playing. That's what's paranormal about baseball. It's such a shit American League this year, and the Red Sox, by some miracle of the baseball gods, are pulling it through and are. For a while, I thought they were going to catch Tampa Bay. I don't know if they're going to catch Tampa Bay. We have 6 good weeks of baseball left of the season. rolling right into the off season. This is kind of exciting for me. In the NL, the National League, if you will, the Chicago Cubbies are 73-53. So the Yankees are 69-55. 4 games up from that is the Chicago Cubs leading the way in the wild card. Trailed not too far, actually 5 games, kind of far, by the Philadelphia Phillies, who are 68-58, followed by the Padres and then the Diamondbacks. Like a game out. The Red Sox kicked their shit out of last night, 11-1. That was a beautiful game. And then the Miami Marlins. There's still 3 games out, the Marlins and the Cardinals, and they are just a squeak above 500. Not a great year for baseball. I don't know, but it's a great year to be a Red Sox fan because the rest of the league sucks. So we don't really have to be that good to be contenders, which is also a positive. I don't care how we do it, guys, as long as we do it. Speaking of doing it, the NFL training camp started a couple weeks ago, I guess. Yeah, about a couple weeks ago now. I will be taking the gang from the group home tomorrow, and we will be going to Foxborough to see the awful New England Patriots as they host joint practices with the Philly Eagles. That should be an event. I hope to see. Maybe I can spy for my Dolphins and get some maybe I secretly hold up my phone and record. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do that. No, I'm going to do that. Of course I will. Screw the Patriots. So I don't know. Everybody says my Dolphins are going to suck. I'm sure my Dolphins are going to suck because if you know anything about my Dolphins, you know that they generally just suck. But we'll see what happens. A-Chain is talking about giving A-Chain the ball 40 to 45 times, carries a game. Malik Willis on that first drive, he was only in for 1 drive against the Washington Commanders, who they lost to, but it's all preseason. He played 1 drive, and he scored a touchdown, and he looked magical. Some said Jalen Hurts good. That's pretty good. So I'm hoping maybe they do something. I'm hoping that at least they come to New England and beat the Patriots. I have some shit to talk. At least just give me a little shit to talk to these my brethren Patriot fans, my brethren Boston Red Sox fans who are going to turn into the devil. They're going to turn into it's going to be the moon comes up and they're going to turn into werewolves and I'm going to be shooting the silver bullets and they're going to be trying to eat my face. That's what it's going to turn into after week 1 of the NFL. It's just going to be it doesn't matter that we love the Red Sox together. We hate each other now. So you have all that fun stuff to look forward to. Week to week, I will do my picks of who I think is going to win. I have had really decent success. It's 8:15. I have 5 minutes, and we'll kick into the paranormal on the football pool. So just stay tuned for all that good stuff. College football, go Notre Dame. All that good stuff is coming up real soon as August dwindles down. Oh, this is a delicious beer. Speaking of delicious beers, I'm just going to talk about something really quick. I know sometimes sometimes mention this show to show. If you don't already know, my name is Buddy Thayer, and I have this other podcast called 3 Dudes Brews. I'll give you a little taste of that. So, Buddy, where do I find more stuff about this 3 Dudes Brews? Well, let me show you. So we go to this window here. I'm going to share this window. You go to YouTube. Everybody knows what YouTube is. If you don't, Google it. It's YouTube, and you look for 3 Dudes Brews. This is our channel. On here, you can find all of our stuff. This is from Gray Sale. It's a Captain's Daughter. If anyone's familiar with Captain's Daughter, that's what makes it. It's a beautiful 19th century house / tap room. Absolutely gorgeous. Alan is a great guy to interview. So we have 2 formats. The first format, the OG format, being I guess I wouldn't even call them podcasts at this point. They're just we go to these breweries and we sit with the brewer. This one is with Nicole of Crooked Current, awesome brewery, and I look like an ogre in this one because I'm sitting on a keg. I'm not really that big in real life. We go to different breweries and we film with the the brewer we talked to. This is at Nickel Creek Vineyard. Oh my God, that was a great time, buddy. This is at the Guild. We go to different breweries and we chat insight and craft and like not that I'm like promoting alcoholism, man, folks. Don't get me wrong. I just love to spread the word about delicious craft beer and support local business at the same time. We don't just do beer. We also do mead and winery. I showed you a winery. This is Arcane Mead right here in the middle here. And we're drinking meads there. We're drinking that was the pepper sode. So we did various like flaming qualities. Like we started very low key with like the bell pepper, which was kind of where I draw the line for heat because I'm a little girl when it comes to heat. And then oh my God, they tuned me up with 4 flights of fiery meats. It was really delicious. So it was a really good time. I'm really crying like a baby, but it's Tragmar. So we have all these episodes, all these different breweries around Rhode Island, Mass, Connecticut, soon to be New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine. And then we have these live things that we do, these live podcasts, if you will, that will feature a local craft enthusiast or a local celebrity. So we've had various folks from around the craft beer community come on, and we just talk a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and of course beer. And then we've had like Charlie Moore, outdoor fisherman, the mad fisherman, king of the outdoors. He's won like 19 Emmys. We had him on. He was cool. We just had beer and just beer culture and what we like and what we like to like how would you pair this with that with food, or then we had like the outdoors. We do through shenanigans. I'm looking at the shores of Umbagog where I'm going in 2 weeks. Absolutely gorgeous. Different places, different peoples, different beers, and it's. I'll tell you this much, folks. I was always like a heavy IPA guy. Because I'm a big dude and I like good beers. And then this show has opened my palate up to there are so many styles of beer in the world. So don't be afraid to check them all out. This right here is Ultraviolet. This is a local brewer in Rhode Island, Tilted Barn in Exeter, Rhode Island. Violet was their daughter, so they named Violet. It's a single IPA. They did this Ultraviolet, which you can find from time to time. And she is quite lovely. So I'll be drinking Ultraviolet this evening. It's a good. I don't want to say it's a good segue. It's a good. No, it's not a good segue, buddy. It's a good treat. I returned to the gym. I returned to CrossFit tonight and left my soul and my ass on the floor. And this is just the ghost of Buddy Thayer coming to you live from sunny Blackstone, Massachusetts, or darkening Blackstone, Massachusetts. So, without further ado, I'd like to bring in my co-host this evening, the lovely and talented Jai. Jai, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Oh, awesome! It's been a few weeks since I've seen you, lady.
Yeah,
Did you have
been doing a lot.
Good little time off. Good little hiatus. We call it a hiatus. I was away with school for a few weeks. I had a residency in Orlando, Florida. At a resort, which I didn't stay at the resort because it was like $300 at night. I'm like, I'm all set. So I get an Airbnb. But I haven't been to Orlando since I was like 8 years old. I haven't been to any of the parks since 1988. I'm like, what if I fly down there? My residency starts on Wednesday. What if I fly down there Sunday night after work? My girlfriend came with me. One of her kids came with us. We went down and we did the 4 parks in Disney, which blew my mind. Have you done any of the Disney parks, Guy?
I've been to them, but I've never really done it.
Holy shit! Super expensive, super huge. Yeah. I must have walked like 25 miles. We did 4 parks in 2 days. Awesome time though. Awesome. Amazing. I got crazy blisters on my feet.
I'm sure.
Couldn't walk around for my residency for shit. They got me a little scooter, thank God. But Florida is. I haven't been to Florida, like I said, in like probably like 30 years. And Florida is either like in August, it's like either like soupy, like super thick, humidity, like holy shit, 90% humidity, if that, if not, if probably less, but like that's what it felt like doing New England. And like ridiculously hot every day, or thunderstorms that are crazy with rain, or both, which is usually the case. Great time though, great state. Yeah, really good, really great opportunity for school. So it was a good time. It was a good. I needed that. I couldn't do school and do Disney parks and do a podcast. So I definitely needed that little bit of time to stretch my legs. But we'll be back on running steadily. I will have another break in a few weeks. I'm going to Umbagog State Park. That is the first week of September. So I might do something live for the beer show, but I don't know if I can even get service because I'll be way up in the northern woods of Maine, shutting myself off from humanity and society for about a week. So other than that, we have a bevy of guests lined up for the next, probably like 2 months at least, taking dates down as we speak and back on the trail for that, getting more people on the show, trying to line everything up for the rest of the year. So I don't have to think about it. So there's that. There's all that going on. So we have some good stuff coming up. Really good stuff coming up. Tonight's guest. It's 8:23, buddy. You went 3 minutes over talking about Mickey Mouse. I'm gonna grab his bio really quick. Jesus, where did I leave this? So I'm gonna get his bio really quick. So please continue to hold as I look for this. Tonight's guest, he's a paranormal investigator. He's an author. He's a podcast host. He does a lot of things. As I bring up his. All right, here we go. He is the founder and lead investigator of Kent 10, all one word, Paranormal, bringing more than 30 years of experience and over 500 investigations to the field. A paranormal researcher, author, podcast host, and speaker, Kent holds degrees in theology and psychology with a concentration in parapsychology. Awesome, that's cool. So do I. It's not para. Anyway, I lost my. Okay, his approach combines old school investigative techniques with modern technology, critical thinking, and a commitment to responsible investigation. That is like so important. Kent is also the host of the Paranormal Addicts podcast and founder of the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo. Jesus, is there anything that Kent doesn't do? His philosophy is simple: investigate the claims, follow the evidence, and never force an answer where one doesn't exist. Words of wisdom to live by, kids. Please welcome to the show tonight our guest, all the way from Kentucky, Kent Wilson. Hey, Ken, how you doing, dude?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. And before we get started in the paranormal, go UK, go St. Louis Cardinals, go Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, you're a Cowboys fan.
Cowboy fan.
Oh, you guys just got Von Miller. That's not bad. I mean, he's a little old, but he's still a beast.
But every time I watch my Cowboys, Bruce Springsteen plays in my head. Glory days. Yep. It's been a while.
It's been a while, dude. I'm no one really to speak. I can't. I think the last time my team was in the playoffs was 2008, and we got annihilated by the Ravens in the first round. It wasn't even worth speaking of. So, to better days, at least.
Yeah, my son's a big Dolphins fan. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh,
yeah,
dude.
My older son's a Dolphins fan. My middle son is a Detroit fan, and then somehow I'm a Dallas fan. But that's
you're right. You guys are like right in the middle of the country, right? You're in Kentucky.
Yeah. We're right in the heartland.
The Titans suck and really kind of have sucked, and they're kind of like a newer team anyway. Kind of ish. What else you got out there? You got like St. Louis, but they don't have the Rams anymore. They moved.
Yeah.
Who likes Kansas City? Not me.
No.
I don't know. What
we
are
have the Titans when they decide to be good, and and that's about it.
What options do you have? But good for your son for being a Dolphins fan.
Yeah.
It's people are like, "Well, you're still a Dolphins fan. Why would you like the Dolphins? What made you like the Dolphins, buddy?" And I have to go into this huge story how what they used to win, and the Patriots, who are from this home area, used to suck, and then they went ahead and started winning, and that would be so easy. That would have been so easy for me to jump that bandwagon and jump right out, because they went to 6 Super Bowls. Won 6 Super Bowls. They went to more. But kills me. But it would have been so easy. But nobody would have let me live it down. So I couldn't be that guy, you know. I had to stay true a little bit, you know.
Yeah, I respect loyalty. I mean, like I said, in college basketball, in football, I'm a Kentucky fan, and of course, we haven't been good. We haven't been good at football since Herb Bryant was our coach. And but in basketball, we are the dynasty. And
you guys got a good basketball team down there. You're always in the March Madness tournament. Always. I am actually kind of out your way a little bit. Always been a fan of Notre Dame University.
Me too.
Just their football program. Basketball. I'm a local PC fan, but the PC's not really doing anything these days.
Notre Dame's always been my number 2 team. My cousin actually got to play for him in the 90s.
Oh, wow.
So they've always been my second favorite team. And Florida State.
Oh yeah, Florida State.
I just like football, and I like basketball. I'm not one of those fans that I'm a UK fan, so I hate Duke. You have to have Duke to have Kentucky, and you can't spell Duke without UK, by the way. And
That's right.
Oh man.
But and on the beer front, I'll give a shout out to my local brewery, Paducah Brewery.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they actually have a restaurant that's set up in the old Greyhound bus station, which is actually haunted too. So it's kind of a cool atmosphere.
That's awesome, dude. I traveled. I said it before I brought you on. I traveled to Orlando for a residency for school. I'm a master's student for psychology for counseling, and our residency would go from like 8 to 5. They'd feed us breakfast. They'd feed us coffee, Starbucks, which is awesome, all day long. They fed us lunch, which was like a dinner. But then at dinner, you're on your own. So of course, every brewery in the Orlando area has like food options. So I had to try them all again. They were honestly, I've heard bad things about Floridian beer. I was very happily surprised. So I love the brewery. I love the brewery scene. I love the various styles, and I love supporting local businesses because
that's kind of the whole purpose in my expo. And if you notice, I don't call it a Paracon. And that's with intent, because Paracons have became drama. So mine's a West Kentucky Paranormal Expo, and we don't do drama. And this is my 4th year, and this year we're bringing in Aaron G. Thompson. He's a good friend of mine. He actually wrote the preface to my book.
Oh, nice. What's the title of your book, Ken?
The one that's I'm actually working on my second one and my third one, but the one that's out right now is "Don't Buy Generic Batteries, and It's Probably Not a Demon." I go with titles to get your attention. My second book, the title was actually given to me by Heather Donahue from the Blair Witch Project, and the title of it is "Hold On, You're a Christian and a Paranormal Investigator. How's that work?"
Mm-hmm.
And the introduction to that is written by Rain Kirby. And then my third book, which I used to say was going to be my last, but I got like 3 more planned now. My third book is "It Takes More Than Screaming Demon and Wearing Skinny Jeans to Be a Paranormal Investigator."
That's for sure. That's awesome. So I gotta. There's so many directions I could go in, Ken, right now, but I'm gonna start at the beginning. How did it start? Were you living? All right. So a lot of the time, it's either you grew up in a haunted house, or you had experiences as a kid, or for the younger generations, I was influenced by the TV shows, buddy, and I wanted to go do that. Which was it for you?
Well, it wasn't parapop culture. That's my word. Parapop culture has a role. I was born with it. I was born with what I consider gifts now. I didn't consider them gifts when I was 5 years old, but now I consider them a gift from God. I actually write in my book, the first thing I write in my book, it actually, I'm going to paraphrase it because I don't want to read it, so I'll paraphrase it. It says that most kids' first memory is their first bike, their first Christmas. You know, my first memory is the first time I saw an apparition at 5 years old.
Wow. That's cool. Was it somebody? Was it a relative, or was it somebody like connected to the house?
It was just a random, like 40-year-old lady. It was in my grandmother's house in Carroll, Illinois, and I wasn't scared though. It was like, you know, you would think I'd be scared, but I wasn't. I there was no reason to be afraid, but it made me wonder why she was there. And of course, I grew up in the Bible Belt, not just the Bible Belt, but I grew up in the capital of the Bible Belt. We have more churches than we have people per capita, I think. And,
yes.
So people didn't exactly encourage my research in those days.
Yeah, of course not, because that's anti. That's even though the Christian. I was raised Catholic, and I don't practice, but this is what always baffled my mind. The Christian religion is based on a man dying and rising, his spirit rising and walking on the earth. People call him a ghost, and he goes to heaven. All right. So how is that so different, Ken, than what we're doing as investigators? I mean,
I'll take it even a little further, buddy.
Oh, please.
So you know, I have 2 degrees in theology, so this has become a passion for me. And let me say, the reason I got those degrees is not because I think it makes me better than anybody else. I'm a nobody. The reason I got those degrees is because I wanted to know. It was part of my journey to know. Because when I was 12 years old, I'll tell this little side story first because it's important. When I was 12 years old, I was at St. Francis Hospital in Cape's-Water, Missouri, visiting my grandmother because she had just had a stroke. I call her my Memoir. I was visiting Memoir, and it was just to the point where, you know, family could go visit. And this 60-year-old black lady that I had never seen in my life, she looked like Neil Carter from Give Me a Break. Okay, I'm in the waiting room going to the vending machine to get a Pepsi free in the red can, only Pepsi product I ever liked. So this tells you how long ago this was. It was 86 for the people who want to know how old I am. Yes, I'm that old. So I was going to the vending machine to get me a Pepsi free, and this 60-year-old lady, like I said, never seen her before in my life, walked up to me and told me that I was a tool of the devil and I was going to hell.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
And I was like, that's not something you say to a 12-year-old. So that began my journey. My childhood was not a fairy tale. It was an abusive childhood full of addiction and other things. So honestly, if it wasn't for church, and I won't say I went to church for the right reason, I actually went to church for Amy Michelle Golden. But if it wasn't for Amy in church, I wouldn't have made it through my childhood. But then I got to the point, I'm going to find out if Christianity and the paranormal can survive. So I got a degree in theology from the Local Bible College and a degree in theology from Mid-Continent University. So the first thing I walk people through is when they try to say to me, oh, the Bible doesn't say anything about ghosts. I'm like, okay. I said, okay, let's just talk about that.
Yeah,
First thing I tell them, I'm like, before we continue this conversation, I want to make sure you know that I'm going to make you quiet and I'm going to make you question your beliefs. So you want to continue this conversation. I've had this conversation with preachers and everything else. And once they agree to it, I'm like, okay. I'm like, so now we'll begin the conversation. Have you ever heard of Jesus? Jesus twice in the Bible, not once, but twice in the Bible actually made the phrase, I am not a ghost. And this is important because he could have said anything. He could have said, I'm not Batman. He could have said, I'm not Sasquatch. He could have said, I'm not Judas. But he specifically said, I am not a ghost. The first time is significant because it's in James and Peter. And it's when Jesus was walking on the water and he calmed the storm. The disciples got scared because they thought he was a ghost. Mm-hmm. And when he walked over, he said, fear not, I am not a ghost. The second time is even more significant because the second time is after the resurrection. After Jesus being 3 days, dead 3 days, he rose back to the resurrection, where he appeared to the disciples So this is pre-Thomas. So he appeared to the disciples, and of course the disciples were trying to figure out what he is. They should have already known because he told them, but they're trying to figure out what he is. And his exact words was, "Fear not, I am not a ghost. A ghost is not made of flesh and blood, as you see I am."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he showed his wounds off and stuff, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that all comes back to me now.
So those are very important. And then a good friend of mine, a verse he likes to use, I'm not as convinced with him that this verse proves it, but I can see his point, okay? And that's during when Jesus is having his transformation and he brings back Moses and Elijah.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus sees them because Jesus is Jesus. And but the disciples see it too. And they're dead. So if the disciples see him, they have to be ghosts. So that's his argument. And then the biggest argument to me about this being my purpose and being my gift from God is the fact that in James, there is a Jewish rabbi going around and casting out demons in the name of Jesus and James.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he comes across the actual demonic entity, and the demonic entity responds, "Jesus I know, James I've heard of, but who are you?" Which goes to show you, just knowing this stuff is not the key. The key is belief and faith. So that's an important verse to me.
It's all very fascinating. Jai, what do you got? What are your thoughts on this?
I agree with them. I just feel like, to me, ghost hunting is built on the basics of the church, because I mean the whole reason why we're investigating everything is to prove it, and it's something the churches have already known about.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. My demonology training is actually under Bishop Long. Not that I'm Catholic, and not that I'm growing up. I consider myself a Baptist. Now I don't claim any denomination. I just have a relationship with God. That's a relationship with Jesus, and that's what it's about. It's not about denominations. That's what splits us apart. But when I was actually serving as a youth pastor, when I decided I needed to take demonology training, so I worked within the Baptist church, I worked within the Methodist church, I worked within the Christian church, and none of them offered it. None of them wanted to help me. Some of them even laughed at me, and the only one that offered it was the Catholic Church. So my training is under Bishop Long, which, I mean, for the people who don't know, Bishop Long is the foremost exorcist today. I mean, he's performed 30 cases, so that shows you how rare demons actually are. 30 cases over 30 years, So less than 1%. I'm not saying there's not demons out there. That would be kind of hypocritical since I'm a trained demonologist, But it's not like you see on TV. It's not like Sam and Kobe. It's definitely not like Sam and Kobe, or as I like to call them, the Spice Girls of the paranormal field. I don't care. The biggest problem in the field today, not that I was asked this, but I'm going to tell you anyway, is we have too many paranormal entertainers instead of paranormal investigators.
Right.
That's the problem. And
I want to make my name known on YouTube.
Right.
I'm going to do some stupid shit and or fake stuff. I mean, we've seen that for decades now with paranormal stuff on TV. There have been many
even the great ghost hunters. Even Jason, and I mean, I admit, at the beginning, Ghost Hunters, I think, was pretty well 95% legit. I enjoyed it, especially Grant.
With the two, they'd have like 2 cases on one episode, and not all of them were haunted. Most of them were like, no, it's probably this or that, and not really. And it was really like, oh wow, this is awesome.
And then Jason admitted on an interview several times that around season 4 or 5, the producers became more like, we need you to react more. We need you to see.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm in Rhode Island. I'm in Blackstone, Mass right now, but I'm a Rhode Islander. So a lot of these guys I've run into or had the pleasure of talking to at various cons around the area. One of them, I'm not going to name his name. He was on Ghost Hunters. He was on Ghost Hunters International for many years. A great guy. Not going to mention his name, but he did tell me that for the first 2 hours of every filming of it at each location, they did like, oh, did you hear that? Oh, dude, what was that? They just would film reactions to nothing. So that alone, he didn't say we faked or anything was fake, but that alone is telling me that it's a little bit bullshit, dude. I don't know. Maybe
one of the questions one of my go-to questions, I always end my show with the same two questions, and one of them is, what's the good and the bad of the para-pop culture? That's my word, para-pop culture. And I always ask my guests to give me a positive and a negative. And most of the time it's the same. The positive is it makes it where you can talk about it now. When I was 12 years old, I was told I was going to hell, and I was told of the devil. Now when I run into somebody at Walmart and I'm wearing my Ken 10 Paranormal shirt or my badass Ghost Hunter shirt or whatever, they'll stop me and they'll be like, "Oh, you mean like Ghost Hunters?" And I'm like, "Well, kind of." And then they'll be like, "My grandmother's house there's always been this," and so that's the good. The bad thing is there's too much bullshit, too much faking, and then you have people who get into the paranormal field just to be famous and
just to promote themselves. Yeah.
And if you're not in the paranormal field to help people, you don't need to be in here. And so that's my problem. And I'm that guy. I've been doing this long enough. Like I said, I consider myself a nobody. I know I'm not. I know people know me, but I consider myself a nobody. I have no ego, but I'm that guy that I don't care. I'm going to call you out. Last year, I called Project Fair out to their face. I walked over to the booth because they were charging $50 for a picture, not even an autograph picture, just a $50 picture. So I walked over there in front of everybody. They had a line. I'm talking about like 100 people in their line. I stroll over there, and I'm like, and then since I was there, I went ahead and called them out about working with Sam and Kobe. I had the floor, so I went ahead and did everything, and they were cool people once I crushed them, but they treated me with professional courtesy, if that's what you want to call it, But I still told them that I didn't think it was right that they were charging $50 for a picture. I'm not against making money. I mean, I want people to buy my book, but I charge $12 for my book. I don't charge $50. I charge $12. If you want to autograph pictures from me, come and ask me. I'll give it to you. Right. You want an autograph book? It's $10 at a show.
Yeah, you're not trying to make money off of this. That's what people who will conjure false shit to like, hey, this is like a demon, or this is like, and they just want that energy, that attention that comes with the D word. It's absolutely silly.
And most of the people who say demon, if they actually ever ran into one, would piss their pants.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
I mean, I'm trained, and I don't want to run into a demon. In 34 years, I have two cases that maybe are demonic. I won't even say they're demonic. I'm saying maybe. One is probably 99.9% because the guy was even practicing occult worship, and it was a murder-suicide. So we can probably safely put.
I'm going to turn this to Driver. I'm sorry. I'm going to turn to Driver just a second. I got to step out and use the bathroom really quick. This is being with really quick. And I'll be right back. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead with what you were saying.
Yeah, so that's probably the worst case that sticks to me more than any other case. I don't really talk about residential cases very often because those are about helping the family. They're not about views and likes and clicks. But it happened in '96, and the family has given me permission to talk about it, so I do talk about it. So it was an interesting case because it was a murder suicide. The husband killed his kids, his wife, and then himself.
Oh my goodness.
He had became depressed because he lost his job from John Deere. This was in Indiana. He lost his job at John Deere, and he started drinking and abusing drugs. And then he eventually turned to occult worship. And it had only been like 3 weeks in the parents, in-laws, grandparents, whatever the wife's parents called us and asked us to go investigate. It was probably too soon, but when somebody like that calls you, begging you for answers, that's why we do what we do. And yeah, it was a tough case. I mean, I was able to let the clients know that their grandchildren and their daughter were no longer there. That they had crossed over to, so that was what they wanted. But I also got to help the police because my senses kept taking me to the dresser drawer. It's one of the big dressers, and I don't usually move stuff during an investigation, but since that's where I kept being led to, we moved the dresser, and he had cut a hole in the paneling. It was like a door, and he had his journal in there, and his journal had all of his occult practices. It had what he was thinking about killing his wife and killing himself, and all of that. So we was able to hit that over to the police. Yeah.
That's something else.
Pretty serious stuff. You're talking about the D word still.
Yeah, I still don't say the D word. I say it was definitely a malicious spirit. And for the people out there that don't know what a malicious spirit is, this is the Kent definition. If you're an asshole when you're alive, you're gonna be an asshole when you're dead.
I tell people that's the asshole ghost. Like most of the time, guys, you got to think about it. If you're alive and you're a sweet old grandma and you love people and you love to bake for people and you love to see people do well, you're gonna die. You probably with your family, maybe like send a nice little sign or something. But if you're a drunkard asshole and you beat your kids and you're a sociopath in life, you're gonna be an asshole in death. There's a real people are assholes, and honestly, I think 99% of this is just people, in my opinion. I think I've had maybe a D word case. It was super weird, and I did pass it off to a demonologist afterward. But yeah, it's
So my best example for a malicious spirit, which is what most people would call a demonic spirit. Malicious spirits are more common. I was investigating the Anderson Hotel, which is a location you can no longer investigate. I tell people two things about it, though. First of all, we're not talking about like a Hilton or even a Motel 6. It's a transit hotel. That's the first thing we have to understand. The second thing is, in my professional, if that's the term you want to use it, my professional opinion, the owners wanted the location to be violently haunted. Okay, so it developed a reputation of the ghost biting. But then when you get there, there's 13 deaths there, verified by coroner reports and newspaper reports, etc., etc. But of the 13 deaths, they still have 4 bloodstained mattresses. Did that sink in? They kept the bloodstained mattresses.
That's gonna add some energy, something to it, at the very least.
And then they kept a bloodstained bathtub. Then the malicious spirit, we'll get more to him later. He lived there, and he was a dickhead. He drank himself to the point that he hung himself in the closet. Well, all of his liquor bottles are there, and they encourage you to bring him another liquor bottle. Well, he ran prostitutes in and out.
Oh boy.
So yeah, he was not a nice guy. So I did experience the bite too. And for the record, I wanted to call the bite bullshit because at that point I had been investigating 30 years, and I had things thrown at me. I had been scratched. I had been pushed, but an actual bite takes a lot of freaking energy.
Yeah.
And so anyway, long story short, it didn't feel like a bite. We were doing an EVP session in the bloodstained bathtub, and we were told to get out for the third time. And that's my rule. When you tell me to get out the third time, I move to the next room. I'm not leaving because I drove 5 hours, but I'll go on to the next room. And I was trying to get out of the bathtub.
Nothing more spine chilling than I was in a house. This house that I would say would maybe be that one case that I'm like, And And we didn't even have like a ghost box. We had just it was just like a white noise. And we started hearing it softly in the static. Like, am I really hearing this? And sure enough, it got loud enough where we were hearing it. This is my house. Get the fuck out. Over and over and louder and louder. That same house on a different investigation, I got scratched. And I didn't feel it right away. It was at night. We did it, and of course, the next morning, I'm in the shower. Like 6 hours later, I feel this burn on I'm like, what is that? And, wow. And I get out and I look in the mirror, and right here, like no shit, right here, from here all the way across, right at my hairline, thin, narrow scratch going all the way across, like a good 5 inches, right at the hairline, very, very thin. But holy shit, when I felt it. What are your thoughts on that? Is it like?
Yeah.
One time my leg was cut. I had no idea, and it was like, "What's this water on the floor?" It ended up being blood coming out of my leg. I couldn't tell you where I cut my leg, but once I knew it was cut, holy shit, did it hurt! What are your thoughts on that?
And that's the way it usually is. Yeah, I got scratched one time. I was investigating with another team out of Tennessee. So for the record, for people, because people ask all the time, Ken 10 stands for Kentucky, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. So we was investigating with this other team out of Tennessee. We investigated at Baden Hospital, and her thing was she liked to go live on TikTok. That was her thing. So I was kind of bored because instead of investigating, I was having to play tour guide. So we're investigating and we're on the third floor, and while she's live, all of a sudden I just get a scratch on my face. And I'm like, wow. But back to the bite at Anderson. So I feel what feels like I said, it don't feel like a bite. It felt like a really deep Indian burn.
Mm-hmm. Oh, like,
yeah. That's what it felt like. It felt like
a burn. Yeah, a burning sensation. Yeah.
And then when we got back to makeshift base where we had light, we looked at it and it looked like a double bite. And I actually got it tattooed, so I have it with me always. But that story's been echoed 7 times, even by Chris Jericho, for WWF, Chris Jericho.
Oh yeah.
His camera crew had it happen when they were there. Daryl Munson from Ghost Hunters, his cameraman he experienced the same thing. So it's actually, but that's not even the most dangerous thing that happened to us while we was there. We were going upstairs to the suicide room, as I call it, the room with the alcohol bottles, and we were switching. Me and Dennis was going downstairs, and the girls were coming upstairs. And I had already warned them that the spirit did not like girls. I was like, I don't know what the spirit's going to do, but he does not like females. Mm-hmm. So I was like, as your lead investigator, I'm telling you to be careful. Well, my niece is on my team, and at that time she was 19. So she comes upstairs, and if you want to listen to the EVP, go to her TikTok page. It's on there. So she comes upstairs, and she decides to use the prostitute angle as to get the conversation started. So her exact words were, "I'm 19 and cute. Can I get a job?"
Wow.
So she says that. Within 8 seconds later, we get an unidentified male voice saying $50 and free room.
Wow.
And then it escalated from there. Her mom, Jill, is my team lead, and Tiffany, they were the 3 girls there. And Tiffany and Jill actually got molested. I mean, that's the only way I can put it. They got grabbed in inappropriate places. And at that time, we ended the investigation because it was about team safety instead of evidence.
Now, so I've done that before myself. I don't feel like it's antagonizing a spirit, because maybe a little bit, but I don't usually antagonize. But we were at the Escape Victorian Mansion in Gardner, Massachusetts. I've been there about 4 times. Not every time was like holy shit, but the first time it was like holy shit. So there was this room at the top of the stairs. It was the first room was like a red room, and the second room was what was known as the nanny's room. And they said like men don't go in there. You're gonna get like assaulted. Something, she doesn't like men in there. Yeah, let's go in there first, right? That's where I want to start because
Right.
I want to probe this a little bit. So we all sit around in this room. It's like a bedroom. It's got a bed. It's got these like drawers on the wall. So I'm sitting against that, and we're sitting there for a while. And there's four of us in the room, and I swear to God, my wife, we're talking, and shh, shh. I got this on my Facebook, Ocean State Paranormal. This is one of the EVPs we got, and you hear it on the on the recording, like 4 or 5 like musical notes. Now nobody had a cell phone on them. We all left our cell phones downstairs on the piano. So that was weird. But then I'm like, hey, if I forget the woman's name, but if you don't want me here, give me a sign or do something that tells me I should leave. Dude, within like 3 seconds, it felt like somebody was taking a finger, like just that little spot on my head, and like just pressing enough where I feel it. Like, oh shit, like somebody just like touched my head. Then it happened to the other guy in the room, Joe. Was it the ghost telling us to get the F out? Probably. I don't want to assume that. We got some really great EVPs from that room though. But do you feel like that is antagonizing a spirit, or
I don't. I think provoking. So my definition of provoking, I am anti-provoking.
Yes.
But provoking is kind of like debunk. The word's used so generically, you have to have a definition. So to me, provoking is about intent. If that makes sense, because you're going to go to some locations where you can't be particularly nice. You know what I'm saying? If you go to like Brushy State Penitentiary, Missouri State Penitentiary, places like that, the spirits are not going to respond to you if you're like, oh, my name is Kent, I'm just here to talk to you. The spirit's going to be like, I don't give a shit. You can be firm without provoking. Provoking to me provoking and antagonizing to me is challenging a spirit. Being like, show yourself now.
Yeah, right.
I'm not afraid of you. That's the line. So I think
fight or something.
The intent
or being disrespectful. This.
It's all about respect. You have to respect the location. You have to respect the location owners. You have to respect the spirits. You have to respect the living, the non-living, or as I like to say, the living impaired. And the spirits pick up on that. Spirits choose who they communicate with. They're not trained circus acts. That's why you can go to a location and have crazy experience, and then I may go the next day and have nothing.
Nothing, and those are the best. Those are the best ones. I've been to a place twice in a week. Once was a Monday, the other time was a Friday. The Monday was dead. Nobody dead. Nothing. Not an EVP. Not anything seen. Nothing. And then the Friday was like complete opposite. Like we saw shadows. People were touched.
We have
EVPs left and right.
We have a location here in Paducah. It's famously active. I tend to use the word active and not haunted because it's famously active, but it's mostly a residual activity. But when it was actually a business, it was the African American hotel during segregation. So everybody stayed there. The Highland Globetrotters, Hank Wilson, Josh Gibson, Ike and Tina Turner, everybody. And the most known spirit there is actually Miss Biddy, the owner. She was a fascinating character to begin with because she was the black female business owner when you didn't have black female business owners. And where she wanted to open the hotel up for a long time. She tried to talk her husband into it, and he never would. So when he passed away, she used his money and his name to open the hotel. So just a fascinating history lesson there. Well, her spirit supposedly at 11:01. Don't ask me why 11:01. I do not know. But at 11:01, walks down the staircase. That's all she does is walk down the staircase. Well, I've investigated the Hotel Metropolitan 13 times.
Oh, wow.
13 times. I've actually done 3 public investigations there.
Yeah.
So I know the hotel pretty well. And every time I investigated at 10:50, we stop the investigation. Everybody comes downstairs so we can try to catch the residual. Well,
Nice.
I've only caught it once.
Mm-hmm.
So that shows you that they choose when you have it. But what was interesting is the one time I did catch it, we were actually filming with a film crew from Belmont University out of Nashville.
Yep.
And that's when she decided she's going to show herself. That was both a good and an annoying investigation because we were investigating with 3 college-age females.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was probably interesting.
Yeah. So like, and I take investigations very seriously.
Of course. Yeah.
They kept not taking it as seriously as I thought it needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just started dancing in the middle of the hallway. We were trying to play some team.
Public investigations are great. I've done them. I've done them for fundraisers countless times for historical organizations here in Rhode Island. They're great for the public to get a little tiny taste.
Yeah,
going into a haunted location and asking questions, and that's about it. Because like everyone in my public investigation, I'm like, hey, you're some people you are recording, some of you want to like try this out. Do each other a favor. Don't whisper. Don't get overexcited with emotions and run out of where you're at. Don't
and know your equipment. Your equipment. I mean, I think all equipment can be useful. Even phone apps, you know.
See, that's where I think I draw the line with phone apps. But tell me which ones you're.
Well, I don't use them myself. Let me clarify that. I don't personally use them, but I understand that your phones are basically mini computers nowadays.
Right, so they're pretty powerful.
So if they're programmed correctly, they could be. I'm not saying there's one out right now that I would recommend. I'm saying that I can see potential there, but there's some things. There's some things a phone app cannot do. A phone app will never be EMF reader, never. Right. And
it bleeds EMF. So how could it ever read EMF? Yeah, right.
Yeah,
it would be setting itself off.
That's the reason I stopped watching Ghost Brothers. I used to love Ghost Brothers. I love the fact that they had regular jobs.
I never, honestly, dude, I got into Ghost Hunters because it was a Rhode Island thing, and like I said, I know a lot of those guys from seeing them around, and that's the only show I never got into Ghost Adventures. I never got in after those two. It seemed like there was a whole slew of paranormal shows on every network,
Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures,
and they sucked more and more. They sucked more and more. Yeah, the mining thing.
Right. Yeah, that's what it became. But I like the concept of the Ghost Brothers. I don't think I ever considered them investigators because they were more entertaining. But it was fun until I was watching an episode and they were using their phone app, which I understand most of the time that's more the producer than it is the. They can't. Then they made the statement.
I don't know. I've had investigators on who have given them like a lot of credit. I've used them. I don't really think so high level because
I'm not big on them. I don't use them, but yeah, it just goes to my point. I think they can be useful if you use them right. Just like any equipment, just like SLS, it has to be used right. Most people like to carry their SLS around. SLS is designed to be stationary.
Right.
I'm not a big SLS.
Positives and everything.
Yeah. I was on an investigation and we were training a new girl. It was actually at the Metropolitan Hotel too. We was training her, and she was using my SLS camera because she didn't even have equipment. She kept walking around with it, and she kept getting. Of course, the SLS kept picking up like the banister and the cloak rack, and she kept trying to send it to me in the middle of the investigation. I'm like, stop sending me stuff in the middle of the investigation, and that's not real. That's a false positive. And she got mad at me. I was like, if you're going to be part of my team, you're going to do it the right way.
Dude, I've had people come with us that have we did this old mill once, and I had a team member on. She was really good, but she had her boyfriend. She was trying to let's do more things together. So she brought him on investigations. Of course, he was bored out of his mind. So we caught him on film doing it once, and then it was a drama show. He was sitting back to back with this girl, and on this box, and sitting next to his girl was one of my other investigators, and they both could hear Do you hear that? It sounds like a woman. It's like there's nobody else over here. And they get on a walkie, and it's like, I don't know, I'm like on the 4th floor. There's nobody down there, whatever. And they're completely convinced to listen to their audio over and they get it on audio. It's like, holy shit. And then the guy that was sitting next to us, the guy Kevin, he had video. He had 2 recorders. He had 2 video recorders on the area. And one of them was from facing them, and the other one was facing the guy sitting behind him. And the guy sitting behind him was doing that. Was making little fucking noises all like, why would you do that, you dickhead?
Right. Yeah.
On it. Holy shit! It caused holy hell with his girlfriend. Like,
and then you're like, you're not coming back because you have to protect the integrity of the investigation. Yeah, that's the reason I don't do public investigations. I used to do them as educational, and I think they're good for people that's just starting out. But I want to control my location. That way, I know if it's fake. I know if it's not.
The sound, you know who's outdoors.
Yeah,
about every sound in the building. Even on our first, like when we first go out to a place, I'll like tell everybody, all right, go find somewhere to sit there quietly for like 20 minutes and just listen and just like maybe even meditate, just breathe. Right, you're not gonna get attacked by a ghost. One, they're not gonna just like maybe you will, but a lot of these noises that you're getting freaked out by are natural noises that are being made in the building that you can hear when you're not ready to go. Yeah,
house is settled. That's like the big argument about orbs being just dust. I've been doing this for 32 years. I can tell the difference between an orb and a piece of dust and an insect. In every video you see, not every video, but a lot of the videos you see on YouTube now are the most demonic entity I've ever seen, or whatever. And that's bad for the field. There's actually locations. There's actually locations now, and big locations that you can't go live at anymore. And you can't release your video from anymore until it's approved from the location. Yeah. And it's because of
they're saying shit like that, dude. It's just
and these are places. I went to the Harriman Hotel, South Pittsburgh Hospital 3 years ago. I've been there several times. They're friends of mine. The people that run it are friends of mine. And this last time we got there, they're like, "Oh, you can't go live, and we have to approve your video." And they're like, it's because of Sam and Kobe, because they were here and everything started yelling, "It's a demon! It's a demon! We don't have demons here." They're like, "We have ghosts. We're very on it, but we don't have demons, and we don't want that." So, and that's a problem in the paranormal field.
Right? Everybody wants to make something of themselves, unfortunately.
If you say demon, you get 20 more likes. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
For sure. I started doing this for 2 reasons, Ken. I lived in a house. I wasn't a kid. I wasn't even living at that house. My parents lived at the house, and I was a frequent guest there. And not my father, but my mother and I had various like very real experiences. She called in a team. The team came in. They investigated. They were able to collaborate with some of our claims. They were able to hey, we experienced this, and here's how we experience that. Like, oh wow, that's cool. You don't feel like you're crazy. You don't feel like you're a pariah. You feel like someone's going to listen to you. So I'm like, I want to do this. 2, there was like 3 years of my life right before that and right just after that, where I had holy shit experiences with the paranormal. Like, it took me from a skeptic to a complete believer. I'm like, I need to know more. I want more of this, not for glory or self-promotion, because I want to know more about the experiences that I'm having, and that like people from around the world are having very similar experiences. So it's all very fascinating to me. It's just
it is
my own journey for myself and my own journey to help others, but not to promote myself or to help myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I investigate every investigation as a skeptic, if that makes any sense. I mean, obviously, I'm a believer, but I go into, especially if it's a residential case. Of course, I'm sure we could tell
as human behavior, it's completely natural for a human to assign a scapegoat for something that's going on that they don't understand.
especially
And
if you
it's
have
usually the ghost. It's usually
EMFs, the
pranking the
location,
ghost, you know?
That's
mental
true.
illness. I mean, a lot of times, unfortunately, a residential case ends up being more about mental health than it does about being
Yeah.
actual paranormal. And
Yes.
then one of the most recent residential cases I did, we got in there and their EMF box, their Wi-Fi box was putting off 110 EMF readings.
Mhm.
That's
Okay.
unreal, 110.
That's a lot. Yeah.
I was like, this is part of your problem. It ended up not being the only problem, but it was
Mhm.
part of the problem. What was interesting is that location, the target of the haunting was a 6-year-old girl,
Oh wow.
and it wasn't just at home. The entity was following her to school,
Hmm.
and
Wow.
so obviously it became a priority. And then once we started doing research and all that stuff, what we found out was two things that was interesting. The first was the whole block that the house was on was a medical camp during the war between the states.
Oh,
Uh,
that would
I
be
don't-
pretty active, I would imagine.
Yeah, I don't call it the Civil War because it's not a Civil War. Because
Yes.
Civil War by definition means somebody trying to overturn the government. Nobody was trying to overturn the government. So it was the war between the states,
Yep.
or the war of northern aggression.
No.
I'm a Southerner, but
yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. No.
or we can even call it the War of Southern Independence. But it
Yeah.
wasn't the Civil War. I prefer the war between the states.
Yeah, that's fair.
But,
That's a fair one.
So and then the other thing turned out to be more interesting, especially with the girl being the target. In the 30s and 40s, it was a church, and the pastor was hung for molesting little girls.
Oh well, that's kind of appropriate. So I mean,
That's what we ended up
He
counting.
got what he deserved.
I kind of don't mind that so much.
Yeah, that's what we ended up accounting, coming across was him. And that was the interesting investigation because we have a set way we do residential cases. That way it's, there's no, the evidence is there, it's logged. We do a phone interview and I do the phone interview myself.
You have to. I have like a easily. I'm like when I first talk to somebody, I'm like, all right, I need time for the either phone or in person, and we're gonna do like a 45 to 60-minute interview.
Yeah,
I just need to know everything beforehand.
Yeah,
I do research of the land. I do research of the house. I do as much I can, whatever details I can, fun facts I can pull out of this initial interview.
I got people on my team that actually works for the property evaluation PVA. They actually work, so they do my research and locations, and then like the questions I ask on the phone and the questions I do in the in-person interview are the same questions, but when we do them in person, they're videotaped, voice recorded, and when we go to the house to do it in person, I take 5 people with me. Me and Jill interview the clients and the family, the neighbors, whoever wants to talk to us. We interview with them, and then Jonathan videotapes it, and then the other 2 do a mini investigation. They go ahead and give us EMF baselines. They go ahead and give us SLO baseline or any baseline we can get. They go ahead and do that.
It's good to know, because like you said, mental health is a prominent cause for a lot of this ghostly activity, if you will.
I actually had somebody question my baseline one time. They're like, "Why do you do a baseline? EMF don't prove anything." I'm like, "This is a pseudoscience. Nothing proves anything. But if my baseline EMF is a 3, and then all of a sudden I get an 80, that indicates something. Then it's my job. It's my job to figure out if it's paranormal or if it's something else."
Yeah, I gotta kind of. I've had this question kind of bopping around in my brain for a while. You mentioned not judging. We mentioned not judging people and being judgy towards ghosts a while back. You mentioned that you're a Southern boy. I'm from Rhode Island. I'm also a wicked dork for American history. I'm more so of a wicked dork for the American Civil War. Um, have you ever investigated like the battlefields down there? I mean, I know you got Shiloh right down there in the next state. You got a lot of Tennessee battles.
We've actually got permission from the Tennessee War Society, which is hard to get, to investigate 3 battlefields of Tennessee last year. So that was really cool. And then in Kentucky, I've got to investigate Perryville, which was the bloodiest battlefield in Kentucky.
Yep.
It was actually the last battle. It was the battle where Kentucky was no longer considered a southern state. We were considered part of the Union after that.
They were a border state. You guys never jumped ship. You were just thinking about it, but you were a slave state too.
We did have a provisional Confederate government. We actually had 2 governments during the War of Northern Aggression. We had and interestingly enough, the most famous general in Kentucky was actually the youngest vice president in the United States history. And then he went on. You would ask me, I just went blank. He actually ran against Lincoln. He was one of the 5 people who ran for president.
Oh, wow.
And that's how Lincoln won. There was 5 people running, so it split the vote.
They split up the election like that. Yeah.
And then
Stephen Douglas.
Yeah, Douglas. Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. And what's even more interesting is where I'm at in Mayfield. Mayfield actually hosted what was known as the Jackson Purchase Convention, and the 13 western Kentucky counties and the 23 northwestern counties actually met in 1863 and actually voted to form a 13th Confederate state called Jackson. And it was abandoned 3 months later when Tennessee finally joined the South. But, so technically, we in Graves County is interesting because we had 1,100 people join the Confederacy and 3 joined the Federal.
It's all, dude. I could sit here for another like 2 hours talking to you about Civil War history. I'm so enamored by it. I volunteer at local museums here in Rhode Island, and they have like celebrated pieces, uniforms, cannons from the Civil War. I've been to Gettysburg 20 times. I've never not once investigated the paranormal in Gettysburg. I just go for the
Gettysburg is so different because you don't even have to get to the battlefield.
No,
once you hit the town,
you're in the battlefield.
You feel something. It's just different.
Right, you're right in the middle of Pickett's Charge as you're driving up Main Street.
It's different than any place I've ever been. The only place I think I can compare it to is when I went to Alcatraz.
Oh yeah! Oh my God! Prison has a different feel to it anyway. Whether it's closed.
Yeah, how was that?
People forget it was a Native American settlement before it was a prison.
Right. That's true.
It was crazy. I mean, I've been to several prisons. I've done Brushy. I've done Missouri. I've done smaller ones like, I just went blank. But I've done smaller prisons like Stone, like the old Stone Jail, and stuff. But Alcatraz was just different. It was like different. Like in Brushy, most of the activity I got was strangely in the mess hall.
Do you think that the moving water right there on the island, splashing around the island, that has something to do with it a little bit? Yeah. Yeah,
I think it has a lot to do with it because water, limestone. I mean, it's all right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, death row at Alcatraz was different. I mean, it was like, and it wasn't even a full investigation. It was just a public, I'm trying to get back there for a full investigation. They keep telling me no, but I'm going to keep asking. I'm getting ready to start filming a TV show. So once I start, so once I start filming, maybe they'll let me do it.
Yeah, there you go. Give yourself a little bit of a name. Hey, I'm on TV. Oh yeah, come on in.
Yeah. It's an interesting. It's an interesting concept. Do you want to hear about it? It's me, and then
go ahead. Talk to my co-host for a minute. I got to use the bathroom.
It's me and Kenneth Drake, the Hollywood medium. We're investigating, and it's 2 investigators, 2 different styles, 1 location. What do we come up with?
With 1 location.
Yep.
So you're just doing one straight episode or movie.
You're
not going to do episodes.
We're hopefully going. We're getting ready to start. We're going to film 6 episodes this year, starting in November, and then hopefully we're going to be on the Scare Network. That's who I'm talking with right now. It's Scare Network, and then I keep saying it's going to be like the Dead Files. And Kenneth keeps correcting me and said that we're going to be better than the Dead Files. So I mean, but I like the concept. Kenneth is a little bit more flamboyant than I am. He's a little bit more flashy. So we'll see how it works. He's a good guy though. Except for next time he calls me the Legend, I might choke him out. But that's okay.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, that's what he calls me every time. Every time I talk to him on the phone, he's like, "Where's the Legend?" I'm like, "I'm not a legend."
That's cute though.
I was like, "I am." It's like he's like, "You are." I'm like, "No, I'm not." But what I think is funny is, his reputation is, the Hollywood medium. Everybody knows him for that. But he's really from Alabama. He's from a little bitty town in Alabama. And I think that's one of the reasons we get along so well. We're both Southern boys, So. But yeah, the Hollywood medium, and he's from Alabama. Now he lives in Indiana, outside Louisville.
I'm from Ohio, and I've lived in Covington before. So
I like Ohio.
I've been in Kentucky.
Ohio was where I had my brain surgery.
Really?
Yep.
I think of Ohio, and I think of the Ohio State Buckeyes, and I immediately get a distaste. But Ohio's a lovely state. Cleveland's a beautiful. A lot of good times in Cleveland myself.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah, right. I've been there also. That was.
Yeah, but I travel a lot. I was born and raised in this area.
The Hard Rock Cafe is also there.
But I got to travel a lot, both with the military and outside the military.
Well, that's right. You're an army veteran.
Yep, right? Combat vet.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for
that's
serving.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then after I got out, I became a pro MMA fighter.
Oh wow! Jesus, no shit, huh?
13-1 record.
Wow, that's pretty serious, dude.
Yeah. But I trained in. My background was boxing.
Yep.
And then I took jiu-jitsu. And then when I got that kind of gave me an advantage when I first got into it, because that was 94, 94, 95. In those days, what people don't realize is nowadays they see UVC and, everybody does everything. But in the early days, people specialized. You had strikers, you had wrestlers, and you had martial artists. You didn't really have the mixed. I was one of the first ones that mixed. I actually, this is interesting, for you as a wrestling fan. When I actually trained for wrestling, I trained with Rip Rogers in the Ohio Valley.
Oh, wow.
I was actually technically in the same class as John Cena, Dave Bautista, Randy Orton.
Holy shit. Wow.
But they were training to go to WWF, and I was training to train. Yeah.
Good. One of my closest friends did mixed martial arts. He did Brazilian jiu-jitsu, kempo. He did various styles, and it was always like a black belt. Always did well, but he's like, he got into his 40s, and he's like, dude, I'm rolling around on the mat with dudes that are in their early 20s, and they're like, I'm still winning, but it's kicking my ass. And they had like this bad neck nerve damage, and that really fucked them up.
I would still be doing
step away, obviously.
If it wasn't for the brain surgery, I have Chiari malformation. Nobody knows what that is, but I've had it my whole life. But I didn't get diagnosed with it till I was 38. That's when I got my diagnosis, and when I got my diagnosis, I had just spent 10 days in life support. And,
God, that's horrible, though.
And I had just went back to work, and I had another spell, and went to ambulance by the hospital, and then they came back and they're like, "Oh, your tests are normal." I'm like, "Well, my tests have been normal for 38 years," and they're like, and the ER doctor looked at me and he's like, "You're miserable. I have to get you some answers." So he's like, "We're doing an MRI. And of course ERs don't do MRIs because they're expensive, but he did MRI, and as soon as he did the MRI, he's like, we're sending you to Paducah so you can see the neurosurgeon immediately. And they told me what I had, and nobody had any clue what it was. My aunt was a nurse practitioner, and she had to look it up. And basically, the easiest way to describe it is your spine and your brain is supposed to have separation, and with Chiari, your brain is in your spine, so there's no fluid flow. It actually affects every nerve in your body and has 250 symptoms.
Jesus.
And the number one cause of death with Chiari is suicide.
Oh, yeah, that's I'm in mental health, so that's one of the biggest killers, unfortunately, of a lot of people.
Yeah, and that's why suicide is so big in Chiari, because the doctors don't even understand it. So your families are like, "Are you really sick?" And then of course you live in constant pain. Every day is pain. So you live with, they're like, "Are you in pain today?" Yeah. So when I actually broke down and went to the doctor earlier, and they're like, "Well, you need to go see your neurologist." I'm like, "I can't just go see the neurologist. That's why you're my primary doctor, because I go see you." And then and they're like, "Well, then you need to go to the emergency room." I'm like, "Why are you my primary doctor if you're not going to help me?"
Right.
Yeah.
So but that's my life. But I'm still here. I'm not committing suicide. Nobody has to worry about that. I did lose 3 years of investigating stuff though, because I had to learn to do a lot of things over again after the brain surgery.
Keep busy and stuff. Distract yourself from all the
I was actually walking again in 48 hours. Wow. I actually started talking properly in 12. So
I couldn't imagine that though. That sounds crazy. That sounds intense.
It was scary, especially when you tie in that my wife's cousin's wife, so her cousin by marriage, had the same surgery I had 10 days before I did, and she died on the table.
Oh, fuck. That's scary. That's scary in itself. Yeah.
None of my doctors down here, not even my neurosurgeon down here, would do the surgery, because he's like, we have to do a reward versus risk measurement here. And he's like, there's no cure for Chiari. So even if the surgery does work, the goal is it slows down progression. If it works, it's only 50-50. And he's like, so I'm not digging into your brain just so maybe you have a little bit of relief.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my story.
That's incredible. That I was recently reminded of just the other day. Friends of mine, they had a kid. His name was Zach. He was born with this weird alternative form of MD, and it was Ducharme's. And you got a death sentence by age 23. You're gonna die. But this was the happiest, and I mean, he was in a wheelchair from age 11 on. But the happiest, luckiest kid ever. Didn't think about that. Just wanted to live every day and smile with his family and laugh with his family. And that's what it's all about, boys and girls. If you're having, disclaimer, folks, if you're having thoughts if you're having thoughts of hopelessness or thoughts of depression, reach out. I am not a therapist, but I'm in school to be one. So I can, if I can't listen to you, I can point you in the best direction. Help is out there. Don't hesitate to ask. Don't hesitate to call, buddy. But at least listen. At the very least, it's life is difficult and has so many fucking challenges.
Yeah, sometimes that's all it takes is somebody to help, somebody to listen. Like I said, like I mentioned, what I'm proudest of in my life is I ended the cycle of abuse in my. I grew up in it, but my kids know nothing about it. I'm sure they see the effects it had on me, but
they know nothing of it. Yeah,
they never had to worry about the abuse. They never had to worry about if we was going to be able to eat. They never had to worry about any of that.
Right, the horror of that. The horror that was. Yeah. I hated it. That's probably for the best, honestly. Not to change the subject, but I'm going to change the subject on you really quick before we wrap up here. Ken, I got a few rapid fire questions. I'm gonna throw at you. Best place that you haven't investigated, like top of your bucket list. Where do you want to go? Get any choice. Money wasn't it.
The Hinsdale House.
Where's that at?
New York.
New York. Oh, Hinsdale House.
Yep.
Yeah. I'd like to get there myself.
I'm going there in November.
Good for you. You haven't been yet?
I have not been yet. That's my bucket list.
Awesome.
I actually have three. I actually have four bucket list locations. I'm knocking out 3 of them by February.
Nice. All right. Next rapid fire question. A place that you would never want to investigate.
I would investigate anywhere. I don't have
Anywhere. It doesn't matter.
No.
Well, that's fair. Surf or turf?
What?
Surf. I have nothing else. That's all. What's your best? Your number one piece of equipment that you would recommend to anybody to get and that you use every single time and twice on Sunday in investigation?
Voice recorder.
Yes, amen, brother. Digital, of course, but for me, anything.
Yeah, well, mine's a digital recorder, but I say voice.
I plug these right into it. It's a beautiful thing. One piece of equipment that you would never bring into an investigation.
I got 2, K2 and SLS.
Really, K2? Okay.
Overrated. I have one.
Overrated. Yeah.
I have one. Everybody has one. Why? Because of Grant Wilson. But other pieces of equipment can do the same thing.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a one-tool pony, and it can be manipulated too easily.
For sure. Okay. So you're a medium. You're this is something I ask every medium that I've ever met, including myself. I look at my own self. Do you feel like mediumship is something that's genetic? Does it run in your family, or does it just happen randomly?
Mine is believed to be because my great grandmother was a Cherokee medicine woman.
Well, there you go. They were very spiritual people. My mother, my mother's sisters. I have cousins that see way more than I do, but it's all like one line of the family. And every medium I've ever met has always had a parent or a sibling. There's always that familial connection to the other side.
My son that investigates with me.
Nice.
He has some abilities, so I'm trying to help him learn how to use them.
Explore that.
I didn't have anybody, so I try to help other people. I actually have my case manager on my team.
Well,
she was part of another team for many years. I've known her for years. Her husband, we were friends in high school. We were rivals, but we were friends. I went to Heath, he went to Wheatland. Football rivals. And
yep.
But she got mixed in with a list and replicable team.
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice way to put it, ain't it? So I always had my eyes on her, but I would never bring her into my team because I was like, I'm not going to be tied to their reputation. And then she finally broke off with them, and I brought her in here. And since then, I've helped her learn how to use her abilities. And I took her, and like I took her to like Waverly Hills and places like that.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good place to start.
Yeah,
we all need like an Obi-Wan Kenobi that will away.
Yeah, her first 2 investigations with me was Waverly Hills and Bill Witch Cave.
Oh, there you go. Those are good places to start. Guys, before we wrap up there, do you have any questions you'd like to ask our guests?
I don't.
Not that I can think of.
No.
I was trying to think.
All right, well that's fine. Then I will ask, Ken, where your book, where can people find your book and your podcast if they want more Kent 10 and more Kent Wilson?
So my book is available on Amazon if you want to order it. Or you can come and find me at Smoky Mountain, Rock Island, different places throughout this year. And if you find me live, you get an autographed copy for $10. Or you can go to Amazon and buy it for $12.
Nice.
I'll take your money either way. And and then the podcast is I say it's supposed to be by bi-weekly on Thursdays, but for some reason in August I have 5 episodes.
Yeah,
So if you want to watch it live, it's on YouTube or
Nice.
Facebook. Then the next day it's on Amazon, Spotify, Podbean, or as I like to put it, anywhere you podcast.
Yeah, anyway you can find it. That's great.
And then for this is season 3. For season 4, we're going to Sunday nights, and that will be in January. And then
Nice.
Sunday
Night Paranormal reminds me of Art Dell and that whole genre of growing up and listening to paranormal stuff at night on a Sunday. It was, I'm sorry, go on.
and the new times are going to be 6:05. And for the people that don't get that, that's a throwback to TBS and WCW, because it used to be Sunday nights at 6:05.
The 05, always 05. It's always a good time to start a show for sure, because you don't have to be right there at 8 o'clock on the dot. You got that 5-minute window.
Right. And then for anybody that don't have anything to do, this last Saturday of September, you can come join me in Mayfield, Kentucky for the Risk Kentucky Paranormal Expo. $15. You get a wristband. Come and go as you like. 40 vendors, 12 speakers, and
it's an expo, not a con. Screw those cons, dude.
Yeah,
nothing but drama.
And here's a secret. You get to be the first one to hear this. I have not announced this publicly yet. Are you ready?
Exclusively on the Goat and the Ghost. Go ahead.
For 2027, the Risk Kentucky Paranormal Expo is moving to Paducah, Kentucky.
Ooh.
Or headline speakers are.
That's your home. That's your hometown.
Paducah is my hometown, and it's the biggest city around. So we and Daryl Munson's going to be our headline speaker, along with Paranormal Files. And
nice. Oh wow.
And we're going to include some interesting add-on adventures to the thing. On Friday night, you can do a meet and greet dinner with Daryl Munson at the most famous location in Paducah.
Nice.
And then
great time. If y'all down in Kentucky or Tennessee, you should definitely check that out.
Yes.
If not, then
you can find us on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook.
Sounds good.
Ken 10 Paranormal on anything. If you want me to come to your event or be on your podcast, you can just find me, Kent Wilson, on Facebook. It's the easiest way to do that.
Yeah,
and then I love to talk to people. If you want to be on my podcast, you're out of luck until season 6, because I'm booked all the way through next July.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. Well, good luck with that. Good luck with the book, Ken. Good luck with the expo. I think that's great that you're taking the drama out of the paranormal, the cons. There's so much drama. We could spend a whole nother show talking about that. But instead, if you're not doing anything in the next couple days, 3 Dudes Brews, what I was talking about at the beginning, the beer show that I do. We're releasing our recent episode, most recent episode, or one of our most recent episodes, with Uncommon Pear Brewing. They're in my hometown of Smithfield, Rhode Island. We were fortunate enough to make a red, white, and blue beer with them, right for it's called 250, or it was called 250. It's all gone now. But it was for the 4th of July. It was released. It's 3 berries, 3 dudes. Check out all of our good stuff on 3 Dudes Brews, 3dudesbrews.com. And tune in next Thursday as we will be live talking to Heather Bryant from Yankee Brew News. Sorry, it's not Confederate or Southern. It's Yankee. I'm sorry. And join us next week. I'm sorry. Here on The Ghost and the Goat, we'll be back 2 weeks in a row. Please welcome next week historically haunted podcast host Adam Beacon will join us live from Maine. Good times. Talk about history. Talk about the paranormal. Talk about both of it put together. All the shit that I love the most. For Jai, for Kent Wilson, this has been Buddy there. The Ghost and the Goat. Have a good week, folks. Go Red Sox. Not Cowboys. Sorry, Kent. Have a good week. Later.